and then I asked you like $10,000 closed today and recurring. So you told me and $17,500 in one day in setup fees,
Mm-hmm.
and then $11,250 days in recurring fees in one
Mm-hmm.
day.
Mm-hmm.
Legit.
Yeah.
All right, rock and roll. So I'm here with Michael Dooley. Michael, how you doing, buddy?
How are you, buddy? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you came on my radar not too long ago. Actually, it was February. Well, hold on. I'll look back at our messenger thing. It was not a long time ago, month and a half ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And I think you're kind of a lot like me in a way where it's like, hey, when I'm doing my business, I'm doing my business.
Mm.
Right. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people that are engaged in our Facebook group, which is growing all the time. And that's awesome. Some people are more like, hey, let's go in and engage in conversations, learn things,
Yeah.
share things. And then others are pop in, maybe grab some updates and things like that, but then just get back to it and do the work at hand. And when you reached out to me, I was, I'll read a little bit of what you said. You said, hey, the product is awesome. That's amazing. But the big thing you said is since we started pushing this new solution, which you'll tell us more about what that is here in a second, you've closed 35 of 41 sales calls this month.
Mm.
I don't have my calculator out, but that's a really high close percentage.
Yeah,
If
we
people,
do. We have a high close rate. Yeah.
so that's awesome. And you're doing like 6 demos a day. You gave me a screenshot of all your, new customers, which is awesome. So, anyway, I love talking with people like you because you're in the game, right?
Mm.
You've been in the game.
Yep.
Every single day you're making sales. Every single day you're focusing on growth, and you've got that, that real narrow focus. So, with that as kind of the framework, maybe you could do a quick introduction into the niche, the space you're in, and then the model of your agency that you pursue.
Yep. Yep. So I'm in the automotive niche, and it was sort of a natural progression because I was in dealership land for 15 years. So I sort of um, it wasn't that I wanted to change to, and I just picked out a niche. It was sort of like I saw a lot of gaps in what we were paying for from the dealers. So I'm like, okay, well, how can I make that service better? And it got to a point where we were doing it all in house, and then other dealers and so on started reaching out and asking for help, and it sort of just naturally I fell into it. So in terms of what we do now, we do a high ticket and a low ticket package. Low ticket is our SaaS product, which it's not just SaaS. There's some coaching and stuff in there as well,
Mm-hmm.
and some access to virtual assistants and things like that. And then obviously our network of partners. And then our high ticket is a full done for you product, which yeah, obviously, since bringing in UpHex, we'd always had the SaaS model, but this has just really beefed it up
Yeah.
to what we were doing. So, like, we're sort of ticking along, and we're bringing on, 15 new clients a month consistently. We put in UpX and we just sort of dialed it right in and we played around with it a little bit. January, we signed 42 new clients. February was 28. And I'd have to have a look. I'll get my weekly report tomorrow, but I'm fairly sure we're on like 9 or 10 for the month already. So,
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. So how long ago did you start? Obviously, UpHex you started like a couple months
Yeah.
ago. But your SMMA model, how long ago did you start that?
About three and a half years.
Okay.
Yeah, so I left dealership land in mid 2019, I
Okay.
think it was. So yeah, mid 2019, left dealership land, went all in on SMA. I built the business to, I think it was like 15,000 a month or something on the side to make sure that, because I got a wife and kids and
Yeah, me too.
mortgages
Yep.
and car loans and everything, so I had to make sure that I was right financially. Um, and yeah, made the jump, and within 2 months, nearly lost all the clients because it was like down here. That's when all the bushfires hit in 2019.
Yeah.
So all the local fires. So I'm like, okay, well, how can I do a model that's not reliant on just one market. So we started pushing into the US and into Canada, and then COVID hit after we started to get some traction. But then, yeah, it's just sort of snowballed from there. And we're in 9 countries now.
Yeah. And I know we didn't say where you were from, but you're in Sydney, Australia, correct?
Yeah, just outside of Sydney. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And most of your clients are North American based.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
80%. Yeah. So we've still got a lot here in Oz and New Zealand, and there's some in Singapore as well now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, cool. So before we were talking about models, how you price your model, your low ticket and your high ticket. I do very similar, where I've got a SaaS offering at $497 is my opening. And then we do our done for you at 3,000, which is appointment setting, call qualifying, and things like that. So
Yeah.
walk me through your model. You're in the automotive niche. Walk me through your model and what kind of things you're offering at your price points.
Yeah. So, and this is something that I'd probably say as well, is that it wouldn't really matter if we were, and how we've defined it. Our SaaS offering is very clearly defined as an individual for us when we're looking at it. So for us, if we were looking at it from a real estate point of view, it'd be an individual real estate agent. Or if it was a finance broker, it would be an individual finance broker.
Right.
And then our done for you offer, it would be like the whole business and a whole office. So we're very clearly defined on that. In terms of like an individual pricing, we're coming in at $350 a month, but then we also have $100 a month upsell, which at the moment it's nearly natural that we're just going to charge that extra amount because it's like nearly 90% uptake at the moment.
Yeah.
It's just we transitioned that. So in terms of what they get fully built out snapshot that we built out. And that's one question that I see pop around. Should I buy snapshots and so on? Well, I think once you've been in a while, you're the one who understands and they're buying your IP. So you should really customize it and make it your own.
Yes.
So yeah, they get our snapshot. They get individual and group coaching around marketing and lead generation. So they get one strategy call a month with myself or one of the other guys. They get group coaching every fortnight. They get access to my virtual assistant team, which I've trained up to help them out for just automotive. And yeah, it's in terms of then stepping up, it's a fully done for you service with an upsell of appointment setting on the back end of that one.
Got it. Yeah. And I mean, in terms of so are you primarily the sales guy? Are you like out front just selling people?
I was until probably 12 months ago.
Uh-huh.
And then somebody came on board who's no longer with us anymore. He sort of moved into like a sales / account manager role. Then I went back into the sales side when that came out, and I really concentrated on building the ecosystem of the business. And in my mind, I wanted the business to be able to run to a point without me.
Yeah.
So I really built that out. And so we have a full-time sales consultant on, and was really great because he was an ex-client of ours for 18 months. So he understands, he's in the automotive industry and also the finance industry, which is another industry that we look after. So he was in both of those for 5+ years. Client of ours for 18 months, understands it. So it's really great him getting on calls, and his close ratio is right on there with what mine was at the moment. So in terms of what my role is, it's full CEO. I'm on the tools in every department, but not on the tools, if that makes sense.
Yeah, just kind of overviewing and seeing what's moving, making sure that they're heading in the right direction, doing the right things.
Yeah.
Let's go back to sales here a minute, because we've had conversations, you and I, and on February 26th, on February 25th, I had a big accident happen. I'm all good, but I was like, I noticed that date. I'm like, oh, that was the day after I tore my adductor. Anyway, you said 42 deals last month, 27 so far, and February was a short month. These are closed deals, and it's a combo of the SaaS DIY, right? The smaller
Yeah.
package and then the bigger package.
Yeah.
My question is, and the question that we get a lot of times, you're getting a ton of new customers. I mean, most people, if they could add 40 customers in a month, they'd be like just crazy. They'd be
Yeah.
jumping for joy. Um, Question is, what do you have to do to get those? I mean, like, how do you prospect? How are you prospecting?
Yeah.
How are you finding those people? I mean, the sales thing, obviously, I've got screenshots of what you've done here, very impressive. But how are you getting them?
Yeah. So there's no real magic sauce really. And I hate to burst everyone's bubble thinking that it's an easy plug and play solution, but I've built up to the point where people in the industry know who I am now and have done for the last sort of 3 years. So I make sure that I'm in all industry Facebook groups. I'm making sure we've got our own industry Facebook group, which we are the authority in, which we've got 2,000 members or so in. We run ads. So ads have been really good. Ads I only see as top of funnel and not dependent on them. So we do a lot of database reactivations, ads. We've just started really building out our referral partners who we're looking after the lead generation side. Now referral partners are more like sales trainers and things like that. So still within the industry and trying to put together strategic partnerships. And then that way we can sort of put their content embedded into, our SaaS product. So it's sort of like a real custom sort of setup on the back end. So in terms of that side of it, if we're looking at I call them lead generation buckets. If we're talking about the buckets that we've got set up, organic, if you look at my profile, you'll probably see there's no one that really posts more than what I do online. I make sure that I'm posting 5 times a day between 4 a.m. and midday. And it's a real strategy behind what I'm posting as well. So no like and trust factor. I'm making sure people know who I am, that they get an idea on who I am as well with my content that I'm putting out personally, because I'm the face of the business. But then there's also call to action posts in there as well. There's obviously then the group, paid ads, and then back end referral partners.
I like the multi-bucket thing. We'll come back to that because I think everybody, after you've been in the business a while, they go into, hey, I have several different buckets where things come from.
Yeah.
But what you said, what you're posting.
Yep.
It's know, like, and trust. I totally agree that people buy from those they know, like, and trust.
Yep.
But can you get a little bit more granular? Maybe even provide some examples, like what are you posting? Because everybody knows that like the strategy is to go through Facebook and Instagram and then like friend the network that you want to go into. But then it's like,
and then you get real spammy with that and like we've got appointment setters as well. So like I understand that, but we don't go in for the kills straight away. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like we want people in our atmosphere and to see our stuff and then be able to come to us on that side of it. So, I put a post up, obviously scheduled 21 minutes ago, and it was a post of me and my 2 kids. And it was just like about life away from the business and what it's like.
Yeah.
2 hours ago, there was a post that went up about me going and visiting a client, and it was me doing a quick video saying I absolutely love going out and seeing my clients. So in that way, people seeing it, oh, well, that's like me. And then people then see, obviously, there's a post there the night before when I was working till 10 at night, and it was me in the office working, and people. So on that side of it, I want a full sphere of, they get to know who I am through my personal posts. They get to hopefully like who I am because I'm providing value to them, and I'm giving, some free advice in there and showing them who the real Michael is and the behind the scenes. I think that's the big one, behind the scenes of the business. And then obviously, client testimonials, call to actions. And then when you do put those call to actions, you will find that if you're doing a good job, your clients will jump on there as well and back up what you're saying, and it just sort of snowballs.
I think you're right. Trust is a big deal. in a world where everybody's pitching you all the time and where you see ads all the time, the sales cycle is getting much more fragmented, right? They might see your ad one day, and
Yep.
then they'll see an email from you another day, but then they'll like engage with something and it's connected, so they start seeing your organic post more.
Yep.
Then over time, those things really start to, like layers of paint, just stack on top of each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing, and it's hard for the it's it's hard for the beginner to
Mm,
think in those terms,
big
right?
time.
Anybody that is in this long enough knows, oh, well, I got to build a list, right? I know that, got to build a list.
Yep.
I got to put out content. But I think the a really simple way to do this, and Facebook groups get like this bad rap, but I'll even tell you personally, one of the commitments I made like a year and a half ago was in the UpHex Facebook group. I said, I'm going to be active in there. I'm going to not stop being
Yep.
active in there. And I don't get in there all the time. There's a lot of posts that I'm not able to get to just because of the size and the growth and all that kind of stuff. But I try and be very engaged in there.
Yep.
And the result of that, just like what you're saying, is people get to know me,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And we had a little kerfuffle, we could call it, like a little issue where our software was down for 24 hours. I was just panicking because I know what
I
your guys.
think I messaged you about that. We were talking.
You did. You were the first one. You actually said, hey,
Yeah.
whatever it was. And I said, oh, let me look into that.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, something's not right here. Anyway, it was no fun. But I will say, dude, people in our group just banded around us and they're like, hey,
Yeah.
it's okay. We got you. And that was like, oh, okay, well, we'll get back to it, get it done. We got it fixed, got it handled. Everybody was
Yeah.
cool.
It was awesome.
Nobody's business died. It was like, okay, well, hey, it is what it is. But to your point, there's not a way we can build like relationships one-on-one, but we can one to many in a way.
Yep.
And
100%.
we can behave in such a way to where we actually care. Now, it's so funny because care about your customers, be
Well, people take the
transparent.
social out of social media,
Mm,
and people are using it as, you know, as advertising boards. That's not
yeah,
what it's designed for. Like, it's
yeah,
designed there to engage, and if you spend the time, and cut out, like I can see now, if you cut out 1 hour of your day and you spend the time to go through all of your people who you are strategically networked with, and you go through and you look at their content and you see what their pain points are, and you see what, where you can add value, but not from a point of being arrogant, from a point of helping, and then, interact with their stuff and support them.
yeah.
It's going to come back tenfold when you actually then go to put out the content, because they're not just seeing somebody cold posting something out trying to sell to them all the time.
I'll say the add value thing, because I know what you mean when you say add value.
Yeah.
You know what I mean when I say add value. But I think a lot of people who, again, if I'm talking to the person who is maybe struggling getting those first 10, 15 people, they don't know what other than what Gary Vee goes out and says, oh, add value.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you can't add value unless you have two things. One, a very specific prospect who you understand
Yep.
their frustrations, you understand their business, you understand the dynamics of their problem,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
That's number
Yep.
one. And then
Yep.
number two is, being an expert is good, but it's okay to start out as an enthusiast,
Big
right?
time.
And as long as you're like, hey, I'm going to focus on this little consortium of problems that these people have, and I'm going to take all my time asking, figuring out. Coming into the UpHex Facebook group and asking, what does it mean when, or coming to a class and being, what does it mean when?
Yep.
And then
100%.
just learning and doing your own due diligence. And then you can say, hey, by the way, if leads are not getting on, like if you're not booking leads, if you're not doing this, if you're not doing that, here's probably what that means. And
Yep.
helping people, like actually giving them something
Yep.
that you understand and that you can provide value or answers to questions, answers to frustrations. That's
Yep.
really what you need to do.
And I think people will hire, and you know, I get asked this, and I looked at it from when I was in Dealerland. Why do we hire marketing agencies? Why do we hire somebody to do this for us? And really, there's only two reasons. One is that we don't have the expertise and they do. And the other one's time.
Yeah.
That we don't have the time to do something and we need to outsource it. So if you're looking at those two factors, well, stop coming from a point of just selling and look at those two. Where can you add, you know, where can you come in on those two spaces and be able to add value, to be able to come in with some expertise, some information they might not know, or to solve their problem and save them time by doing so.
Kind of.
And you know, if you can do that, and it doesn't matter. And I see this all the time. What niche are you in? What niche are you in? It does, like we could pivot within a month into a new niche, and I think you hit the nail on the head there. The biggest thing that I'd probably say to people is you can choose any niche as long as you understand the sales process of that particular industry. If you can really understand that sales process, how a client is acquired, how that, you know, how a lead is acquired in that industry, how that industry gets paid, what's their payment process, what's their back end process. If you can really understand the sales side, you'll be able to reverse engineer it for lead generation.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, that's one thing that I see all the time is what niche you in, what niche you in. I don't think it really matters.
No, no. It's funny because I just had a conversation today with a gal who does trash bin cleaning.
Yep.
She's funny. But she does trash bin cleaning. We have a guy that does, what is, he does hypnosis, hypnotherapy.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So he does something with hypnotherapy. We have people that do with dance studios. We have people that do it with all of these range of things. And if I were to tell you who one of our top, somebody in our top 20, what they do in their agency, you'd be like, he has over 180 customers.
Yep.
With, I'm not going to say the niche. It is a niche
Yep.
that you'd say there's no way.
Yep.
And he never loses his customers.
Yep. Yeah. There's no churn.
You know? And it is bizarre because when I have the benefit of being able to see behind the curtain of a couple of those things. And I can tell you, it really doesn't matter what niche you're in because every niche has specialists. Every niche has ways that you can save and make them money.
Big time.
So it doesn't matter. Just pick the one that you understand the best and can get into their complexities the easiest. And that's going to save you time to getting to where you want to be.
Big time.
That's awesome. Well, I wanted to, this is a complete bifurcation away from where we're at here real quick, but I'm going to you and I's conversations here, and you sent me this one thing. I was like, let's see here. You sent me, love you. Just want to show you some love, which thank you for showing me love. Appreciate you, buddy. And then I asked you like, $10,000 closed today and recurring. So you told me and $17,500 in one day in setup fees.
Mm-hmm.
And then $11,250 days in recurring fees in one day.
Mm-hmm.
Legit?
Yeah. Well, all our high ticket comes in at, our high ticket comes in at $4,000 a month. And then our SaaS comes in, you bring in setup fees and so on, like that's over 1,100 depending on how they go because we charge a setup fee.
Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't take much to sort of build it up. That's probably not our biggest.
I love it. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much to make,
it can stack pretty quickly.
$29,000 in one day.
It can stack pretty quickly. That's what I mean. We've had bigger days than that, and we've obviously had days where we've gone for zero, and they're the days that they're the days that I actually look at really, like what have we done in the last 2 weeks for us to go for a zero? Like, why haven't we? For me, like I want to make sure that we're having, a daily input, being transparent. I want to have $5,000 a day coming in. Like that's just an end of year revenue goal. Like, and if we get nothing coming in, well, okay, now each day we've now got to make this, and how can we make that happen? Why did we go for zero? And it's it can stack pretty quickly. That, and I remember, for the first 12 months of agency land, like I was, my parents own a security company. I was doing nights, doing security. One boy who has disability, so I was full on with him. At that time, my wife was now a new partner. We had a baby on the way. Just left my secure, good 6-figure a year income, couple of mortgages, couple of cars, and it's like, okay, I'm struggling here. I've nearly lost all my clients. I've gone from $15,000 a month when I built it on the side, went full time, and now I'm on, $4,000 a month. What do I do now? And it was just sort of like, well, reverse engineering and making it happen. And it's, it can change pretty quick. And it's, even now, like you still look at it and you still realize that there's big plays in the game, and you just focus your own lane. That's the biggest thing I always say.
I was listening to something not too long ago with such a narrow mindset. I'm not gonna say what it was. I'm not gonna say who it was. Doesn't matter. But this person had such a narrow mindset and was running so scared because they put all of their stock into the SMMA model.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, your focus, the model doesn't matter. It doesn't, like, I have SaaS and I have SMMA, if you want to call it that. Right.
Yep.
It's all reverse engineered around who it is. And really, I could go today and I could switch my entire model up if I wanted to. And I could say, hey, we're doing this and we're only doing that. And I would figure out the sales pitch and I'll do all that and be making that money. Right. This game is entirely based on your own creativity and how you're able to add value and produce a result for your end customer. 100%. End of story.
And even within industry, like, someone in the automotive space, they're not going to offer what we offer. And then we're not going to offer what they do. Like, it's two completely different things. And, we offer, as part of our SaaS, they get coaching. Like, there's no way somebody else can do the coaching and stuff that we do because it's comes from us. And you know what? It's a very narrow mindset to think that, to put yourself against others, and especially revenue. That's one thing that it was a scarcity mindset that I was probably in for the first 12 months. Was I was chasing that 7-figure a year income. But, once you stop really doing that, it's funny how it all just sort of happens, because if you focus on the activity and rather on the revenue, and you just focus on the activity and how you can do better for your clients and solve their problems more efficiently, it's funny how you can then charge more for that service. And then they obviously start stacking. And all of a sudden you'll look back and you're like, wow, okay, well, last week, have a look at that week. It was like a $75,000-$100,000 a week. Like, what happened there? Like, oh, okay, back to it. How do we like? You just sort of, it's weird how it happens. You just sort of get stuck in the moment. And you just keep going.
Well, I feel like I could sit here and shoot the breeze with you all day long. I got lots of questions. I feel like I know a lot of the answers. It's almost like I have questions for the people who watch this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because you're taking a very similar path that I have taken in a different niche now. And you've got your foot on the pedal. That's the other thing. I think a lot of people, when they start going, they'll get like their first couple of sales. Right. But you and me also, I have kids, a lot of people, so do you. The pressure of having a family there, you don't have the luxury of, waiting to see, well, I'm going to wait for that person to give me the answer, or I'm going to wait for, I'll buy that course and then I'll do. No, you have to get out today and take action and see what happens. And then you got to be willing to suck and learn and get better and be transparent and be honest and just go.
Yeah. And you know what? And that's the big thing that, I actually get this quite a lot from other agency owners that I know, and it's how do I structure my day? Like they want to see behind the scenes of it, and it's I actually split my day up into 4 days, and I know some other people do this as well. So, but it's from 4:35 a.m. till like 11 a.m. my time. So that's for me to serve our North American clients, and that's I call that my US day.
Yeah.
And then in the middle there, I'll have an hour or so just to chill out, go over, write notes about what actually happened in that time block, have lunch, and then the next time block will start. And that there's usually from like 1:30 till 4, and then 4 p.m. And that's that's I call that the rest of the world. And that's where I'm, working on with my Aussie clients and so on like that.
Do you
Have
use
dinner.
something like this?
Exactly. Yeah, same sort of thing. Yeah, I've seen that
Time
before. It's the
boxing.
same type of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I full time block everything, and I make sure that a week in advance I've got like all the kids appointments in there. Like I do the daycare drop off, I do the school drop off. My oldest boy, I take him to his doctor's appointments, specialist appointments, physios, things like that. And then obviously, there's other commitments in there as well. So I'll make sure that all of those are in there. And how do I make them work in what day of the day it is? You know what I mean? So it's you get better at time management. And I think that's the big one is, I don't get any more hours of a day than anyone else, and either do you. It's just we're making sure that like we're maximizing what we're doing with it. Yeah. And what you can't maximize in the revenue generating activities, you look at how you can then leverage other people's time for it.
All right. This is the last question I want to ask you. And it might be a little hypothetical. Maybe you might have to go back 3 or 4 years into the past here to answer this question.
Yeah.
Looking back into your past and where you started, where you're at right now.
Yeah.
What do you think was the single most important thing, like where you started, that made it so you can end up here today?
Stop trying to do too much. So stop trying to do too much. I remember when I first started, and it was when we started, in that period where I went full time, we lost a lot of clients, and I thought, well, I need to add more. I need to be able to do more for our clients.
Yeah.
So I need to be able to do content for them. I need to take on any client possible, pay the bills. At one stage we had, I've still got a couple of them because they're really good friends of mine, like family friends and so on. But like, there's other companies there that we've got. Like, at one stage we had 12 kitchen renovation clients. We had like 10 builders. Like, we had everything, and it was just sort of like we had everything, but we're still sort of spinning the wheels and looking at it. You can't structure ads or the content or your messaging out to prospects if you're trying to hit everybody.
Yes.
And that's, you can't throw a blanket over everybody. And that's what we were doing for quite a while. When we really narrowed it down, and to be honest, I didn't really want to do automotive because I was in the industry for 15 years. I was sort of tired of it.
Yeah.
As I said, I sort of fell into it. Like, they kept coming to me, and I thought, well, like I understand it like better than anyone else.
Right.
I've got to sort of go down that avenue. But we're still pretty heavy in finance as well, because they cross over. Automotive and finance cross over quite a lot. So we've got that as well. And it's the biggest bit of advice I'd say is don't try and do too much. Like, pick, even within SaaS and SMMA, like, pick your little niche of what you do, whether that's ads, whether that's automation specialist, whether that's brand reputation, whatever it may be. Like, content, don't try and do it all.
I couldn't agree with you more. I would say 9.9999 times out of 10, when people are coming in struggling to grow their agency, struggling to get clients, struggling to make ads that actually get response, it always stems back to they're trying to write that ad to appeal to too many people, or they're trying to make that sales pitch so they're so they don't qualify, so they don't filter people out. Heaven forbid you say no to something.
That's the
Right?
biggest thing with, and that's the, where I can't, like, we've got one client, we manage $1.2 million a month in with ads. Like we manage a lot of money with ads and run a lot of ad accounts and so on. And not all of them through UpHex, but a lot of them we do. And the biggest bit of advice I'll ever give anyone is you need friction in the ad to
Yes. Make it
bring out not
believable.
just the quality, but
Yeah.
also you need some pushback. You
Yeah.
need to make it a little bit difficult for somebody to go right through. There's a happy medium point there between cost per lead and the friction point where you can just be happy with what you've got and then just spend more and keep getting the result. And I think there was a post that came up 2 days ago in the group, and I saw you comment, and I sort of backed it up as well, where somebody said I had some leads coming through. I had, good metrics, good frequency, good CPC, and everything coming through, but my leads have stopped. What do I do? And what we do is we just spend more, turn that ad up, like force the result.
Yeah.
Once the result starts coming through, bring it back down. Like,
Yeah.
if all the metrics are good, it just means that, like, you're hitting the right people. You're not just not hitting the decision makers right now. So
That's awesome. Qualifying, it makes it more believable. My favorite, there's a case study where my favorite marketer, Gary Bencivenga, was rewriting a control, and the headline was, I'll show you how to make $1 million in a week, or something like that, right? And they were going out, and the headline was just not doing well. And he said, give me 20 minutes and I'll show you the secret to making $1 million. Or it was something like that.
yeah,
And consequently, I have a thumbnail on my YouTube channel that says, give me 30 minutes and I'll work a sales miracle in your agency. It happens to be my most organically viewed video,
yeah,
right? And it just so happens that by saying this is how much work or this is what is required, I'm making a promise, but it's a believable promise,
yeah,
because I'm saying you got to watch a 30-minute video, which it's an amazing video. Go
yeah,
watch it.
yeah,
But just by making it believable, all of a sudden, the mindset and the quality of the people that come through that sales funnel just start to work. So,
100%.
dude, this has been awesome. Like I said, we could go on for hours. I know we could.
Big time.
But I appreciate you doing this with me. And thanks for, reaching out on Messenger and making contact. And, I guess people reach you in the group, or what if somebody
Yeah,
wants
just
to
reach
chat?
out in the group, say hi.
Yeah,
Yeah, and if ever I can help out or whatever, just ask a question in the group and whatever, and just, yeah, more than happy
awesome.
just to throw in a bit of advice. And by no means an expert, but done a little bit.
Awesome. Michael, you're the man. Appreciate you, buddy.
I appreciate you and the whole team. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, man.